While budget airlines have dominated the scenes lately in key markets such as in Asia, these airlines have encountered challenges when it came to long-haul travel. So far, budget airlines taking their approach for long-haul flights has seen a mixed bag of results, with some ending up in failure despite having some good business environments to start from. One of these examples is Oasis Hong Kong Airlines, a former budget airline based in Hong Kong which focused on long-haul travel, which operated for a short time during the mid-2000s. This short-lived budget airline venture aimed at taking on the hometown airline of Cathay Pacific, and for this reason, this video will highlight the story of Oasis Hong Kong Airlines. The start of Oasis Hong Kong Airlines could be traced to the founding duo of a husband-wife pair of Raymond and Priscilla Lee. In 2005, the airline was founded, and taking the helm of the leadership for the airline was Steve Miller, who would serve as the chief executive of the airline. This was significant as Miller was the former CEO of Dragon Air, an airline which since its founding had become a main competitor of hometown airline Cathay Pacific at that point. Their vision was to form a new budget airline that would be a long-haul airline operating flights to Europe and North America, using Hong Kong, a key major financial and business hub of Asia, as its main base of operation. While its business model was more like a budget airline, Oasis would go big, selecting the Boeing 747-400 as the airline would acquire a total of 4 of the jets. Unlike the all-economy seating that we mostly see with budget airlines today, Oasis would configure these aircraft with a total of 359 seats, including 81 business class seats and 278 in economy. Expecting 4 of the jets, the first of the 2 aircraft that the airline was anticipating was welcomed to the fleet in July of 2006. This would be part of the build-up for the airline's start of operations, and it would go in a big way to compete with Cathay Pacific in the form of offering ultra-low fares compared to the mainline carrier, and Oasis set its sights for London being its first destination. During this time, Oasis would sell tickets for flights between Hong Kong and London for as low as £75 for an economy class ticket each way. This didn't include the taxes and other charges that would apply, though this was a very appealing rate and generated buzz for the airline. This was part of the build-up for the first flight of Oasis, which would take place on October 25, 2006, that would take the flight from Hong Kong to London's Gatwick Airport. However, the story of the first flight of Oasis Hong Kong Airlines would be the story of itself, as the flight was delayed due to issues with the use of the Russian airspace. According to the reports on the first flight of Oasis Hong Kong Airlines, the story goes was the permission for the use of Russian airspace for the flight was revoked, and this led to a 24-hour wait for the departure of the flight, prompting the passengers to be disembarked from the aircraft. After things were cleared out, the first flight would take place the following day. Despite this initial hiccup, Oasis would eventually recover and would gain an initial reception which would eventually be good for the carrier. While it was a budget airline, passengers noted the amenities that were also likened to a full-service airline, including meals and in-flight entertainment. The airline's reputation would further grow as it was voted the world's best leading new airline by World Travel Awards 2007. Looking to expand further, the airline would eventually start flights to Vancouver in Canada. To support these flights, the 2 additional Boeing 747s would enter the fleet in 2007. Then challenges would start to mount that would lead to the airline's demise. One of the major challenges that the airline faced was like that of other airlines: rising fuel costs. The airline would find it difficult to sustain full-service in-flight amenities while offering the low fares. After marketing itself and making its name as a budget airline, it would not be ideal for the brand to raise airfares, so the airline sought out investors. Unfortunately, there would be no investors coming to save the airline. Eventually, this would lead to the cessation of operations that would take place with the last outbound and return flight between Hong Kong and Vancouver in April of 2008. During the liquidation process, it was found that the airline had around 1 billion Hong Kong dollars in liabilities, including 22,000 passenger claims that would be worth around 250 million Hong Kong dollars. Unfortunately for these ticket holders, like other unsecured holders, they would only receive just around 10% of what they were owed from the airline. During its short 2 years of operations, Oasis Hong Kong Airlines made a name for itself with its low fares, though its model would prove unsustainable given it was operating long-haul routes while providing full-service amenities. Oasis was one of the first of its kind in Asia, though its inspiration was based on some other airlines that were operating as no-frills airlines back as early as the 1970s. These early failures of long-haul budget airlines now do provide the lessons for current airlines with similar operations such as the likes of Scoot, AirAsia X, and Norwegian. Today, these airlines now have the advantage of operating in a time where aircraft technology has advanced, where we can now see the 787s that operate long-haul budget flights while also providing fuel efficiency for the airlines. Still, the challenge remains of keeping these flights sustainable, specifically keeping the cost down of operations, while also having passengers enjoy the low fares and comfort. Something you don't normally see on short-haul budget flights, especially within the region where most seats are at the bare minimum. Then there's always the competition from the full-service airlines, which budget long-haul flights don't normally go to the main hubs, and often passengers cannot take advantage of connecting options. Today, we now see challengers taking on long-haul budget airline flights, and definitely they do take on the lessons that we have learned from the failure of Oasis Hong Kong Airlines. It's been now more than a decade since the last flight of Oasis Hong Kong Airlines took off. If you happen to have worked with the airline or have flown with them, I would definitely love to hear your memories of the airline. In the meantime, I definitely hope you enjoyed this video. This has been Flights in Asia, highlighting the news and updates from the aviation and travel scene in the Asia Pacific. For more of the latest updates, you can check out the website at www.flightsinasia.com. Thank you for watching and have a great day.